Robert E. Lee was more than a Confederate general, he was an American. Robert E. Lee was born in Stratford, Virginia, on January 19, 1807. He was the son of Revolutionary General Henry Lee, known as Light Horse Harry. He graduated from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 1829, ranking second in a class of 46. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Engineers. Lee distinguished himself as an exceptional officer and combat engineer in the United States Army for 32 years before resigning to join the Confederate cause. By the end of the American Civil War, he was the commanding general of the Confederate Army. Early in 1861, President Abraham Lincoln invited Lee to take command of the entire Union Army. Lee declined because his home state of Virginia was, despite his wishes, seceding from the Union. When Virginia declared its secession from the Union in April 1861, Lee chose to follow his home state. Lee's eventual role in the newly established Confederacy was to serve as senior military advisor to President Jefferson Davis. Lee soon emerged as the shrewdest battlefield tactician of the war. His abilities as a tactician have been praised by many military historians. Lee's brilliant defense maneuvers stopped the Union offenses one after another as he defeated a series of Union commanders in Virginia. Lee stated that it is well that war is so terrible, we should grow too fond of it. Lee was also a humble leader. After the disaster of Pickett's charge at the Battle of Gettysburg, he proclaimed, "It's all my fault." After the war, as a college president of what is now Washington and Lee University, Lee supported President Andrew Johnson's program of Reconstruction and intersectional friendship while opposing the radical Republican proposals to give free slaves the vote and take the vote away from ex-Confederates. He urged them to rethink their position between the North and the South and the reintegration of the former Confederates into the nation's political life. Lee became the great Southern hero of the war, and his popularity grew in the North, well after his death in 1870. He remains an iconic figure of all military leadership. As a president of Washington University, he created the nation's first departments in journalism and commerce. His legacy lives on, as in Atlanta, Georgia in 1874, Benjamin Harvey Hill described Lee as "a foe without hate, a friend without treachery, a soldier without cruelty, a victor without oppression, a victim without murmuring. He was a public officer without vices, a private citizen without wrong, a neighbor without reproach, a Christian without hypocrisy, a man without guile. He was a Caesar without his ambition, Frederick without his tyranny, Napoleon without his selfishness, and Washington without his reward." On August 5, 1975, President Gerald Ford posthumously granted Lee his American citizenship, stating, "Although more than a century late, I am delighted to sign this resolution and to complete the full restoration of General Lee's citizenship." There are several monuments depicting General Lee around the United States, the most prominent being in New Orleans, standing at 60 foot tall. Lee has also been portrayed in several movies, such as Gods and Generals and The Killer Angels. We could all learn from General Robert E. Lee, as he was a man who was fiercely loyal to his state and his countrymen. He was courageous and fought even when he was overwhelmingly outnumbered, and most of all, he called for the civil rights of all individuals, no matter the race or creed. Thank you.